Okay, welcome to another class on the secret history, chapter 3. And I thought that we would also have a look today at conditionals. You can find conditionals in any chapter of this book, of course, and you'll find a wide variety of conditionals in any chapter of the book. But we're going to focus on 0, 1st, 2nd and 3rd. And we will also see one example of a mixed conditional on the board as well. And I'll give you an example of the other mixed type too. So that's one reason that we use if. We use if for conditional sentences. Nonetheless, there are some conditionals that look like conditionals which aren't conditionals. And there's an example of that in this chapter. And so I'll talk a little bit about false conditionals. It's basically when if means because or since, and not its conditional meaning. It has a different meaning, even though it's still a conjunction in this sense. So sometimes if means since or because, and we'll talk about that. Sometimes if means whether, and that's not the same as this if. You can't swap this if for a whether. But sometimes when you say, I don't know if, I don't know whether, I'm not sure if, we wondered if, I asked if, these ifs are a different type of if than these ifs. So I will mention if as whether as well. And I found one example of when if really means yet or albeit. And that is another meaning of if. So we will look at that. And then of course we also have as if and as though, which are quite complicated, and we'll look at those as well. So here are what the conditionals look like. You have 0 conditional, if plus present tense, and these are always true. And so if you press this button, the machine gives you coffee. It always gives you coffee when you press this button, So it's like when you press this button, the machine gives you coffee. If really does mean when in 0 conditional. When, when it's cold, I put on a jumper. If it's cold, I put on a jumper. That's always true, And so if is really when in 0 conditional. First conditional is for the real future. If it is hot tomorrow, and notice I use present tense for tomorrow. I don't use will in the first part. If it is hot tomorrow, we will go for a picnic. So in English, we only say will once in first conditional, and I want you to take note of that, because I've noticed that in most other languages, it seems to me, you use will in the first and second part. You use future in both clauses for first conditional. We don't, we don't. We say if it is hot tomorrow, we will go for a picnic. If I pass my exams, I will celebrate, and not if I will pass my exams. It's a really common mistake, and so I think I'll even put it on the board. I'm going to write will here and cross it out, just to remind you that that is probably the most common mistake with first conditional. And the most common mistake with second conditional, which is not for real future, it's for hypothetical future or present. And I want to stress that yes, it's past tense in second conditional, even though it's sometimes about the future. And so the most common mistake here is people put a would in the first part, even though we only put it in the second part. For example, tomorrow, if I won, tomorrow, if I won £1 million, I would buy a yacht.